Hi, my name is John. Welcome to the sixth part of the review of the Arctic Pro-MIG 250-amp inverter welder. What I'm going to do this time, I'm going to turn things up a fair bit and weld some heavier metal. I've got some 10mm angle here, some box section, some solid bar. We're going to do some reasonably heavy welds. I'll still be using my 13-amp adapter, so I'll be welding from a standard 13-amp plug. In the next video, we'll put the 1mm wire in and we'll put the 32-amp plug straight in and get some real heavy welding done, as well as some stick welding. Okay, I've got a bit of 1.5-inch box section, I've got a 3-inch angle. I've cleaned the thickest off with a grinder. I'll get some tacks on there and we'll weld that on. Again, we're using 0.8 wire on a 13-amp supply, and I've got the welder set at about half voltage, about half power. We'll get some tacks on it first. You can hear the noise the welder's making, a crackling bacon noise. That's the sort of noise you want. And I can look at that, when you're welding you can tell it's a good weld with plenty of penetration. I'm looking forward to getting the machine turned right up. We're turning about half power here on 0.8 wire. There's middle scale on the angle, and there's still paint on the big angle. I run a weld bead along there and see how it copes with the dirty-ish metal. What's impressing me is it's welding this off a 13-amp plug. Got a block of steel here, about 10mm thick. Tack it on first. Couple of tacks. I was making little C-shaped movements with the torch as I was welding. Little C's or little sixes, just catching both edges. I'm running a couple of beads across there. And that's putting some serious weld metal in. On a 13-amp supply, you can't go wrong. I've got a couple of bits of 10mm plate tacked up here. This is for the easy to weld on the bench, people, just to show you can weld upside down with the same settings, exactly the same settings as before. Upside down, no problem. See where I've got the earth, you don't need a good earth. As that bar's called mill scale, you wouldn't get a good earth through there. We'll throw the mold grips onto the clean metal, you don't need a good earth. There's lots of welding defects caused by bad earths on MIG welding. Right, we've got a bit of vertical here. You can weld up over or down over. Welding up over gives you the most strength. Vertical uphill MIG. Have you heard that nodding of wire? A bit more wire so it punches in. It took very little increase in the wire feed to make a massive difference in the weld. touch more wire. This is the setting I'm using, or I've been using, to weld that 10mm thick steel angle. I'm still using 0.8 wire, still running from a 13 amp supply. To go any higher, I'd be tempted to put the 1mm wire in and switch from the 13 amp supply onto my 32 amp supply. If you try and get too much from the machine on a 13 amp, it'll blow the fuse. So we're just above halfway there, so it's probably put 150 to 160 amps out. Looking at the welds, that's the sort of amperage I would expect to produce a weld like that. Right, I'm going to take out the 0.8 wire and put in a big 15 kilogram spool of 1mm wire. Well, last time I took the wire out, I cut it off with a torch and I tried to wind it back on the reel and I lost the end of it. And like that. Shite. Look what happens. Anyway, all I'm going to do, I'm going to snip the wire off. There's the safety hole where you put it through the hole. Go on, you bastard. Put it through there. Tie it off, that's the wire safe. You can't lost it. Take the cover off a torch. Release it. No tension, just pull the wire out. You're better off scrapping 3 meters of wire, doing it that way, as you are doing what I did the last time and trying to curl it back onto the reel. Scrap that bit. Right. You take the tip out of the torch. Right, that's your 15 kilo spool of wire, industrial size reel. I once dropped one of them bastards, dear me. Right, yeah, that's certainly well protected when they come. Plastic, and I've got that brown paper that stops corrosion. But if they get wet, they'll rust. Once they get rust on them, I finish, so I throw them away. That's the end of the wire there. I don't know how much is on one of these spools. No doubt somebody will tell us. Right. Once again, slide under there. And locates onto a pin in the back. Right, we need to change the wire feed roller. It comes with 2 rollers, basically so you can use 0.6, 0.8 and 1mm wire. These are what they call a V-shaped roller, they're a V groove in there. Aluminium, you use a U-shaped groove in a different liner. I want to try weld some aluminium with it. I have welded aluminium with MIG before, but I've always used a spool gun. Anyway, quite simple to change on a keyway. Just line the 1mm up with where the wire goes. And just nip that up. Right, we need to find the end of the wire, which is there. Right, I've got the end of the wire. Carefully feed it through the little guide, goes over the top of the roller and into the end with the guide tube on the torch. That locks down, that's our idler roller, a little bit of tension on there. Right, we got our torch, we'll power things up. So when you let go of the trigger, the roll stops rolling. You don't want it carrying on and bird's nesting and making a right mess in there. It's nice being able to use it. The big 15K rods of wire has a lot of wire on there. Do a lot of welding. Right, trim the end off. The 1 mil to the 0.8, it's only a 0.2 mil difference, but it's a massive cross-sectional area. The 1 mil wire is a lot thicker, it'll carry a lot more current. Just nip that in. I normally keep the spare tips and the spanner in there, and you know where they are, and the spare ruler, you can't lose them. It's not that your welder's getting dragged around the floor, it's stopping where it is. Right. Right, we've got a big ruler, 1 mil wire in, we're 15K industrial size reel. The set's plugged into a 32 amp outlet, so now I can wind the bastard thing up to 250 amps and see what it'll do. I've got some 1/2 inch and some 3/4 plate. I'll V it out, we'll have a go at welding that. And then I'll put some MMA leads in and have a go at stick welding. I really like stick welding, especially with an inverter. You get a lovely smooth arc, really nice to weld with. Anyway, that'll be the next video. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. That's a canny haircut, that mean. Bastard. Come on, go off.